I thank the Chair. Mr. President, I rise to speak in support of a bipartisan resolution that has been introduced by our colleague, Senator Durbin, and that I'm proud to be a co-sponsor of, which concerns the situation in the country of Belarus. As the winds of democratic change have been sweeping now across North Africa and the Middle East, ousting autocratic rulers who've been long entrenched there, it's important for us to remember that there still is one remaining dictatorship in Europe, and that is in the country of Belarus. In the 20 years since the fall of the Soviet Union, Belarus's neighbors to the north and west have become successful, prosperous democracies. But tragically, while Poland, Lithuania, and Latvia have broken the chains of tyranny and joined the flagship institutions of the Euro-Atlantic world, NATO, and the European Union, Belarus and its people have been left behind, held behind by its despotic ruler, Alexander Lukashenko, who has ruled his country through repression and rigged elections for nearly 2 decades. Some in the United States and Europe had hoped in recent years that Lukashenko might be prepared to open up Belarus and change his ways. These hopes, however, came to an abrupt end on December 19th of last year when Belarus held presidential elections. And thousands, as it quickly became clear that the vote in those elections was neither free nor fair, thousands of Belarusian people took to the streets of Minsk in protest, and the Lukashenko regime responded with violence and brutality. This resolution would put the United States Senate on record in response to the crackdown launched in Belarus on December 19th, a crackdown, I would add, Mr. President, that continues in significant ways to this day. More than 600 people were swept up by Belarusian security forces on Election Day and in its immediate aftermath, among them journalists, civil society representatives, political activists, and several opposition presidential candidates. It's hard to believe that this kind of behavior still exists in this world today. The detained continue to be denied access to family, lawyers, medical treatment, and open legal proceedings, while their relatives and attorneys endure harassment by Lukashenko's security forces. This resolution will do several significant things. First, it will send a strong and clear message to Lukashenko himself that his actions are unacceptable and will carry significant costs. It tells him that we do not consider the December 19th election to be legitimate and that he is therefore not the legitimately elected leader of Belarus, and that there should be new elections that are free, fair, and that meet international standards. I would add, Mr. President, that the European Parliament passed a resolution not long ago that says precisely the same thing that I have just said here in the United States Senate. Perhaps even more importantly, this resolution will send a message to the people of Belarus who are struggling to secure their fundamental freedoms. It tells the dissidents there that we have not and will not forget them or their cause, that we remember their names, in fact, and we will stand in solidarity with them until they achieve their goal, which is a free and democratic Belarus. Last month, Senator McCain and I and others traveled to Vilnius, Lithuania, where we met with Belarusian students and opposition leaders. I can tell you it was an extremely powerful experience for all of us. We heard directly from them about the repression taking place in their home country. The substance of the resolution Senator Durbin has written and submitted with co-sponsorship by several of us reflects what the Belarusians we met with in Vilnius told us, as well as what we heard from other dissidents from that country here in Washington. The resolution specifically calls for the immediate and unconditional release of all political prisoners in Belarus. It also urges a tightening of the sanctions against Lukashenko, and we are urging the Obama administration to offer the strongest possible material and technical support for Belarusian civil society, and that includes, of course, the political opposition. This resolution is broadly bipartisan in its sponsorship and reflects what I think is a wide consensus here in the Senate about the situation in Belarus today. I know that there are some who may look at the resolution and say it's merely symbolic, who say there's nothing we can do to help the people who are living such repressed and unfree lives in Belarus, and that we should simply accept the reality of the Lukashenko dictatorship after all these years. But if the historic events in Tunisia and Egypt have taught us anything, it is that the United States does best when we stand in our foreign policy with our values and with the people who share them, and that what appear to be even the most impregnable regimes can fall with remarkable speed. Obviously, I cannot say exactly when Belarus will be free, but I have no doubt that someday it will be free. I'm confident that the future of Belarus belongs not to Lukashenko and his cronies, but to the people of that great country, to the dissidents who are in jail, to the students we met in Vilnius last month, to the civil society activists who are being harassed by the KGB as we speak. It belongs to the people in Belarus who want a future of democracy and economic opportunity, not Soviet-style repression. This resolution, put together, again I say with thanks by Senator Durbin, puts us, the Senate, on the side of the people of Belarus and against the Lukashenko regime that is repressing them, oppressing them. I hope that we can come together and swiftly pass this bipartisan measure. I thank the chair